friends. I'm here with video 1 on advocacy. So this is for those of us who want to enhance our advocacy skills in any capacity. An advocate, what is it? It is when you publicly support or recommend something. So that is pretty broad. To me, if you are a parent or a caregiver, to any extent, then you are inherently an advocate. And so I'll give you an example in a smaller way. So when we used to go around in the grocery store with my son, he was 3 at the time, a lot of people would touch his hair and it would make him very uncomfortable. And so me as the parent, I just became an advocate right away because it was then my job to inform people that it made him uncomfortable and to please not do it. And it surprised me how uncomfortable that made me to have to tell someone not to touch my son's hair. And the responsibility wasn't his. At that age, he was not able to advocate for himself. But through my advocating for him, which didn't come easy, and which I did not do every time, but it did help me to get better the more opportunities I had, and we unfortunately had plenty of opportunities. So at some point, I had to become better at it and be able to say, hey, he doesn't like his hair touched. Thanks, don't touch his hair. And then in doing so, I've now created a son who can advocate for himself, and that's the whole goal here. So what are some other ways we can advocate? We can advocate for policies to change. We can advocate for our rights. And a big one is advocating in a medical setting. And that can be really, really scary. And so we're going to go over that more in depth in the next video. For now, I just want to tell you a little bit about my story in becoming an advocate in a medical setting and what that looked like for my family. So when my son was a baby, he was getting very sick every time he would get a shot. And I had to say, okay, well, we're not going to do all of them at once. We're going to do one at a time. Almost always I would leave and we did 2 or 3 at a time because they would just convince me to do it. And oftentimes I'd walk out and be so confused as to, like, how did I let that happen? And so my son was having a lot of difficulty every time he got them. And I was not a very good advocate. I was so scared to talk back. When I did, they shut me down very quickly. And I wasn't really advocating. And it was awful. So fast forward a little bit, we moved to a different state and we had a new doctor, and I said that I didn't want to get one of the shots. I said, that one I'm waiting a couple of years for. And I had every intention of giving it to him in that couple of years. The doctor, who was a woman, she looked at me and she kind of was like, oh, you're one of those people. She essentially bullied me. Called me names, told me I was a negligent parent, never asked me why I was considering not doing it, why I wanted to wait. And then when I went to go play with one of those gloves with my son, she snatched it and said, see, you don't even know that could make him choke. So I left that office that day, and I was also pregnant with my second, so I might have been, the hormones might have helped, but I stood up for myself that day, and I stood up for my son, and I said, we are never coming back here. I said some other things, but I was like, no, that's it. I'm done being bullied. He's not getting it today, and that's just it. So we walked out of the doctor's office that day, and I called that night, and I said, we're getting his records. We're moving to another doctor, and then it started to roll. The ball started to roll in terms of advocacy. I started to research different doctors that would allow me to be the parent and allow me to make the decisions that I thought were the right ones for my family. So let's fast forward a bit. I did find an amazing doctor who was really holistic and really respected our choices, and even gave me more information that I didn't know and told me to go do my own research, which, by the way, if a doctor tells you to go do your own research, they're amazing. But fast forward, my son started having more health issues. And when he did, we were seeing specialists. And I found myself in that predicament again where I had to, again, be an advocate. And this time, I was not going to let the opportunity fly by. I took the lessons that I learned from all the prior scenarios and I put them to work. I was the boss, essentially. If they wanted to do a test and I didn't want to do it, I said no. If I wasn't sure, I waited. And if they wanted to put him on some medication, I did the research. I decided whether he went on it or not. And it's been a really inspiring and beautiful journey to be able to be that advocate that I always had in me. Again, I think that if you're a mom or a dad or a caregiver in any capacity, then we are inherently advocates. We may just not know how to use those skills. So stay tuned. I'll be sending out the next video next Thursday, and I look forward to continuing this dialogue with you.